And after that, here white goes for a move that looks weird at first. He goes for b4, giving up this b pawn, but this is basically a move that activates the white pieces, and this is known as Evans Gambit. Here Tal captured on b4, and after that here white goes for c3, attacking this bishop, and after this bishop goes back to a5, and finally white can go for d4, taking control over the center, attacking this e5 pawn. And now Tal goes for d6, and now it's better for white to go for queen to b3 so that he can target this weak f7 pawn. Or white can also go for castling, but instead here white decides to bring his bishop to g5, and that's a mistake because now it gives black a time to develop his pieces, and Tal does exactly that. He decides to bring his knight to e7, developing his knight. And after that, here white goes for queen to g5 with the idea of knight to f5, threatening queen g7 mate. So to stop this, here Tal goes for f6, attacking the queen, and here queen f5 is recommended for white, trying to exchange the queens so that he can get out from any tension. But here he goes for queen to h5, and that's an inaccuracy because there is no point of playing queen to h5. I mean, it's not doing anything great here because the g5 square is already covered by the pawn on g5, and so there is nothing which white can do to attack the black king. And here Tal can easily continue by pushing this pawn to c6, which attacks this pawn chain. And by this, you can see black will be better. But instead here Tal goes for knight to g6, preparing for knight to g4, knight to f4, attacking this queen. And now computer is suggesting the move rook to g8, guarding this weak pawn on g7, but as we all know, Tal is Tal. He never plays move according to the engine. Instead, he comes up with his own ideas, and that's exactly what he does here. Here he goes for h5. But why? Basically, he wants to go for rook to g8 with the idea of g5 so that he can attack this queen, and now it's recommended for white to just slide his king to h1 so that he can reroute this knight from g1 to h3 by attacking this active knight of black. And let me show you a quick variation. Let's suppose if black goes for rook to g8, knight to g1. If g5, attacking this queen, simply queen to g3. And if black tries to attack this queen again by h4, queen to g4, bishop takes f2, rook to g1. And after that, simply bishop takes g1, king takes g1. And as you can see in the next move, white is going to push g3, and this game will continue like this. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move h5, here white goes for g4, which is an inaccuracy because here Tal instantly goes for g5, which attacks this queen. But guys, instead of bishop takes e1, it's better for black to capture this knight by bishop takes h4. This is because after queen takes h4, here black will firstly exchanges the queen and then he can go for rook to g8, threatening to play rook to g1 check. And let's suppose if white decides to get out from this danger by king to e2, now comes this amazing move rook to g4, attacking this knight and this pawn. And let's suppose if knight to f5, rook takes e4 check, king to d2, rook to f4, and now you can see black has 6 connected pawns, whereas white has these 4 isolated pawns, which can become easy targets for black in future. And by this, clearly you can see this position is completely winning for black. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move bishop takes e1, and now it's better to capture this bishop, but instead he decides to give another check again by knight at g goes to e7, which is a mistake because of and as you can see at the end white is a material down. Also look at these isolated pawn of white, which are the biggest weakness in this position. And in this position, Klovans resigned. This is because let's suppose if white defends this check by rook to g1, now comes queen takes e4. And obviously exchanging the queens will not make any sense for white. So let's suppose if white goes for queen to d7, trying to capture these pawns, but simply queen to h7. Black can easily defend this, and now this queen is attacked. So queen to g4, but queen to d3 check, king to f2, knight to h3 check, king to g2, and finally knight takes g1, king takes g1. And now you can see this is all over for white. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.